So the first thing is that this is supposed to be a joke. I'm not sure if it translates, but IT is not it. IT is not the thing. I can't tell you. I'm the editor of, I'm a reviewer for lots of journals that have the word computers in them. And I really have lost track of how many papers say that what they're going to show is the effect of information technology on something. On learning maths or doing history or learning science or something. So the idea is you have this thing called information technology, which used to look like this, and then it looks like that, and now it looks like this, and soon it will be embedded into your clothes, if not maybe even into your body. I don't know. And this thing, which we'll call information, do you call it IT here, or ICT, or what's the catchphrase in Hong Kong? ICT. That was when we weren't sure whether information technology was also about communication. You remember that? And then somebody invented this thing called the web, and it became obvious that there was something to do with communication was quite important in technology. And now a whole generation of people think that computers are those machines which allow you to communicate with other people. And that change took 10 years. So who knows where we're going? I don't know. So, but the point is that IT is not it. That actually, I've really, we had a wonderful initiative in the UK about 15 years ago. It was called the Modems in Schools initiative. And the government thought it was a fantastic idea if all schools had modems. So they gave every school a modem. And 2/3 of the schools that received their modem didn't have a computer. And I think in a way we're still, it must have been more than 15 years ago, it was probably 20 years. And we're still in that situation in a way. You know, here's your computers. I don't know, with the situation in Hong Kong, would it be routine that every kid has a computer here?
No.
No. In Sweden, yes.
Yeah.
Not everywhere.
But in Stockholm, probably.
Where we come from the West Coast, it's becoming more and more common.
Yeah.
It's developing fast.
Yes. And you know there have been some wonderful initiatives, the One Laptop per Child initiative, that we are very quickly moving. Well, actually, most kids do have a computer, but they call it a phone. They think it's a phone, but really it's as powerful as most people need. The trouble is it has only a tiny screen and a slow processor and so on. But we have enough computers in the developed world, but we don't know what to do with them. And partly we don't know what to do with them because we think that we know what they're for. They're information technology. And the worst possible accident of history occurred, by the way, because it is called information technology. And more, because of the huge power of the web, people think that computers are for accessing information. If you ask people, not specialists, go out into the street and say, what's a computer good for? And they'll say, gathering information. The trouble is, information is not the same thing as knowledge. And in fact, in some ways, the idea that a computer, the cultural idea that a computer makes things easier, that you click and find things, is obviously true, but it doesn't solve the problem for education, because education is not only about information, it's about knowledge. The second thing that's true in my country is that, you know, imagine a person coming from the 19th century and they just would not imagine what the sharing of music involves in the 21st century. If they watch people listening to their MP3 players, they would have no idea what that person was doing, a strange thing stuck in their ear, a tiny little thing just a little bit bigger than my thumbnail. What's going on? The same with photography. See this little machine he's got here? So just 100 years ago, a machine, well, of course, a machine like that didn't exist at all, but 80 years ago, you could take you could take movies. But just imagine that what the transformation has been. And I don't mean a transformation of the technology. I mean a transformation of what it means to take photographs, what it means to listen to music, what it means to make an arrangement with somebody. You know, you just say, I'll meet you at 6:30 at Central. That's okay. You don't need to know where exactly. There'll be thousands of people, but it doesn't matter. You just phone when you get there. But if that person came into a classroom, comes from the 19th century, lands in a 21st century classroom in the UK, and I'm sure it's true in Hong Kong, and I've been to plenty of classrooms in the States, they would know exactly what's going on. There's a person standing at the front. That person is telling younger people, usually, what they should be doing or what they should be thinking. And now they have these strange boxes in front of them, but they didn't used to have. They used to have quill pens or something. But really, what is happening in the classroom is the same now as it was 100 years ago, maybe even longer. We haven't really yet got a fundamental change. I'm going to be talking much more about that tomorrow in the keynote session, but I'm not sure what time it is, 2 o'clock or something. Anyway, and the last point is the balancing of knowledge and information. I think I'm going to show you that by example. Let me give you an example. And now this is an example of some research we did about 10 years ago. And our idea was this: we want to give kids things to do that they could not do if they didn't have digital technology. And so there's a research question, which is, okay, if you give them those kinds of opportunities, what do they learn? This is not so obvious. And we thought, as Ida says, I'm originally a mathematician, so most of my examples are going to be about mathematics, but they're going to be about very simple mathematics. If you don't like mathematics, don't worry. This is really easy mathematics. The question is, how could we expand what we mean by learning about mathematics by using technology in a way that was unthinkable before we had that kind of technology? And we came up with the following idea, which wasn't unique even then, and certainly is not unique now, which is, supposing these little kids, some of them were really young, 6 years old, 7 years old, supposing we came up with a way in which they could build video games for themselves. So the kids were very happy playing video games, not clear what they're learning when they're playing with video games, but we would put them in a different relationship with the game. Instead of just being a consumer of the game, they would be a producer of the game. And we called it the Playground Project, and we thought it was a good idea to call it Playing with Rules. Because the whole point about a video game is that basically it's a bit like, it's a formal system. It's a little scientific microworld. You have to specify precisely what the objects do. When this object touches this object, something should happen. When I let go of this object, it should fall to the ground. But falling to the ground, people have very clear images of what should happen. If you ask even a little kid, I'm going to make a computer program that throws this ball up into the air and down again. You'd be surprised what they say. They're very, very clear what kind of a path the ball goes in. They know it when they see it. Of course, they don't know what it's called. Of course, they have no idea what the equation might be. They have no idea why this beautiful curve is so important in mathematics. It doesn't matter. But they have a very interesting, you can see right away, if you say to them, well, maybe it goes up in a straight line and comes down in a straight line. They say, no, it doesn't do that. Maybe it goes in a circle. And they can quickly see that it doesn't do that. So they're coming into contact with really quite interesting ideas. I'll give you another example of that in just a minute.